Welcome back. All right, more news of the day. Yep, another full board. This should be the last news video for today, though. Just saying, just throwing that out there, unless something big happens with the Boston goaltender. Anyways, so starting at the top of the board, as that's how these things work, we'll start with the Ottawa Senators. Levi Merilainen, goaltender, depth goaltender for Ottawa, dealing with a groin issue. He's not at camp. He's not expected to be out long term either, so we'll see if he comes in during the preseason or what happens there. Travis Green. So I spoke earlier about John Tortorella and how he puts players through their paces on day one. Just absolutely brutal. Travis Green has that reputation as well. So Green, not going to say he's having a competition with Torts, but hey, maybe. At any rate, Travis Green putting the Senators through their paces. He is known for this. Of course, famously, Ole Ulevi got blown up during one of those long skates that he puts guys through. And so Travis Green, one of those coaches who believes in making him work on the first day. And we'll see how things go with him in Ottawa. Samoskevich, a young player for the Florida Panthers, who I know Panthers fans are excited to see what he might be able to do this year. He won't be available to play against Nashville on Sunday. So it's an upper body injury. It doesn't sound like it's anything major, but it might be something to keep an eye on. When a rookie player falls a little bit behind other players in training camp, it can be easy for a team to make their cuts and go, well, we'll send the kid down and we'll keep the veteran on the team. So again, the kids have to push those veterans out of the lineup because otherwise teams will tend to pick the veteran over the young player. Anthony Duclair, who apparently had some choices this past summer, choosing to play with the New York Islanders, and he felt like it was the right fit for him. Looking at their lineup, he felt like there was a spot there for him right out of the gate, and that was important to him when it came to making the decision. I'm always grateful when it's not just, well, they offered me the most money. Now, there may be cases where that is true, but for Duclair, I hope he does well with the Islanders. Duclair's one of those players I keep an eye on, too, with how many teams he's played for, because I would love to see a player from this current crop end up playing for the most teams than any NHL players ever played for. It's a little more difficult in this era, though. There's a lot less trading now than there was during the Mike Sillinger era. Anze Kopitar with some news that might make the Kings fans happy, might make other fans happy too. Saying the Kings aren't playing the 1-3-1 system this season. Doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to play defense first. I think the NHL has shown defense first is very often a winning way to go about things. But saying that the Kings won't play the 1-3-1, which is how they played this past season, the thing for me is this. I don't think the LA Kings need to play a 1-3-1 system to win. When I see a team playing just defense, I see a team that maybe they lack the talent, maybe they lack the top-notch players, and so they're playing a system that tries to even out the balance since they don't have that top talent. I think the Kings have the talent. So I think playing a little bit more offensively minded hockey could improve their record. And as the Kings are seen as a team that may be above, maybe below the playoff line, finding the right system could be key for them, especially out of the gate. General manager in New Jersey, Tom Fitzgerald, says that Dawson Mercer talks are close to an agreement. It doesn't sound like they're that far off. Whereas the Swayman talks, it sounds like aren't close. The Perfetti talks, it sounds like aren't close either. But it does sound like Mercer probably gets signed over the next couple of days. Again, it's seen as a 2 or 3 year deal. The term is not what they're arguing about, it's the dollars. And it doesn't sound like they're that far away now. Brett Pesce is week to week. Now, my first reaction to this, I'll be honest, is, okay, so he arrives in New Jersey and immediately gets hurt. No. This was clarified by Fitzgerald as well, that Pesce had to have surgery for a broken fibula he suffered when playing for the Carolina Hurricanes in the playoffs this past season. So, Pesce did not get injured by going to the Devils. He was injured when the Devils picked him up. So, I just want to throw that out there because it does feel like New Jersey and Montreal are two teams I'm going to be watching this year to see, so are the injuries going to pile up on them again? But yeah, so Pesce out week to week, and as I said in the previous video, week to week I treat as a minimum of 2 weeks. Craig Berube, the new coach, of course, in Toronto, no pressure, giving William Nylander a real shot at center. And I'll throw in here, too, his brother Alex saying he had other options when it came to signing in the NHL, chose to sign with the Marlies and wants to earn an NHL contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs, said that's where he wanted to play. Now, in William Nylander's case, he's been tried at center before, but it doesn't feel like anyone's ever really committed to it. Nylander saying that too, that he needs to really get that opportunity to get into his stride as a center. And it does sound like Craig Berube's open to it. That would bump down to Tavares to the third line spot. That's where they were today for practice and line rushes. So if Tavares is your third line center, that's not bad. That's not bad depth down the middle. And I can see what Berube's trying to do here. We'll see how things work out for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. I want to throw out there, too, there are some fans finding this out. I know I reported on it when it was initially going on, but now people are looking at the schedule and realizing if you don't have Amazon Prime, you may not get to see all of the games of your favorite team. So on Monday nights, they will be having Amazon Prime night. And I know on the Canadian side of things, 26 games are going to be on Amazon Prime. And again, if you don't have Amazon Prime, I don't think you're going to be able to see them. I do have Amazon Prime. And of course, the one that I always laugh at too is when I'm reading about all these streaming services, and at some point they may bundle them together. Oh, so like cable. I'm really glad we cut the cord on cable, so now we can have streaming cable. But anyways, yeah, so 26 games. I know there's 6 Maple Leafs games. There's 4 Canucks games that are not going to be available on regular television. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how things go with this. The online streaming services have been upping their game when it comes to showing pro sports, and the NHL getting in on that. It may very well be the next way to go for sports leagues. Keeping in mind that sports are part of what's keeping cable at all near. I want to say profitable. I don't know how profitable cable is at this point. It doesn't feel like cable is anything like what it was, say, 20, 25 years ago. It's all cop shows, hospital shows, and fire shows. That's it. It feels like that's all you got on TV. So without sports, you can just find out about firefighters, policemen, and doctors. All right, but let me know your thoughts. Are you going to seek these games out? Does it make you more likely to get Amazon Prime? Does it not? I don't think anybody's going to be swayed by 26 games during a full season, but again, this is just a trial process, and if it does really well, more games may be given over in future seasons. Chicago talk here. Taylor Hall says he's 100% healthy. They've paired him as well with Bedard and Bertuzzi. So I think that's the plan for the top line, is to have Hall, Bedard, and Bertuzzi. That's not a bad first line, comparatively speaking, with what the Hawks were throwing out there last year. And this is why when people talk about Bedard's plus minus, I kind of think, well, yeah, his plus minus wasn't very good, but did you look at the team? Chicago was brutal. So things should be better for Chicago this season, and Taylor Hall being healthy should help. So Demidov watch as his rookie season in the KHL continues. He had 4 points in a 7-4 victory over Sochi. So that's how you get more ice time. You go out there, you perform. 2 goals, 2 assists for Demidov. He's now at 6 points in 6 games on the season. So yeah, that's good news for him. It's good news for SKA as well, that they're playing him, and he's playing pretty darn well. A retirement that I didn't know if I'd ever see is apparently going to happen. Jaromir Jagr admitting that this is going to be his final season. And then once he's retired officially for pro hockey, I would think he immediately goes into the Hall of Fame. I'm perfectly fine with them waiving the waiting period for Jagr. They've done it for certain talents in the past. I think with Jagr, I think it just makes a lot of sense. At this point in time, you can't argue against Jagr being in the Hall of Fame. The waiting period, I don't think, does anything to change anything. And so I think immediately putting him in makes the most sense. So he retires, say in March, whenever the season ends in the Czech Republic, or Czechia now, I guess. And then I think the Hall of Fame should just say, yep, so he's going in the Hall of Fame immediately. Just do that. And of course, they have the ceremony in November, right? So yeah, get that done. This is kind of a fun little note, so I wanted to throw this on the board too. The Carolina Hurricanes arriving to training camp, taking a bit of a dig at Seth Jarvis, and it's a playful dig. There's nothing serious meant behind it. Wearing Jarvis Moneybags t-shirt, so it's a cartoony image of Seth Jarvis, and he's clutching a bag full of money at his chest. So I think they're funny. I'd like to see them, available at a retail basis. Maybe the store could sell them online, that kind of thing. I will say this for Carolina, they do have a lot of fun shirts and a lot of fun ideas. I know when the Bunch of Jerks thing was out there, they just jumped right on it. And yeah, Carolina's pretty good when it comes to the whole marketing side of things. And I think this is just fun. So Seth Jarvis has a good sense of humor about it. Clearly, so do his teammates. And it's always nice to see that. So Nashville news, as I'm wearing a Preds jersey here, Stamkos and Marchessault skating together, not really a surprise. Their center, Tommy Novak. So getting into a little bit of fantasy talk here just for a moment. Tommy Novak could have a dynamite season from a points perspective if he's playing with Stamkos and Marchessault. So that could jump him way up in points. This is the kind of thing that if you're doing fantasy hockey, you keep an eye on this and see if these guys stay on this line throughout training camp, and then maybe you take a shot at Tommy Novak. Because if you're playing with Stamkos and Marchessault, you're going to get points. You just kind of sort of have to. So with the word in Boston seemingly being quiet right now when it comes to Swayman, in talking with Korpisalo and Bussy, and Bussy's 26 years of age, he hasn't really had a chance to play in the National Hockey League yet, but he's been great in Providence. So they are both treating this like, hey, Swayman's not here. This might be our opportunity. Korpisalo saying he takes things one day at a time. And so they're saying all the right things. It would be very interesting to see if Boston got off to a decent start with Korpisalo and Bussy. Does that then switch things up? Again, the deadline to sign a restricted free agent is December the 1st. After that, they can't play that season. So, I mean, it right now the pressure's on Boston, but if Korpisalo and Bussy both play well as the NHL tandem for this team, that pressure then could switch to Swayman, unless Swayman's fine with losing a season in order to get what he feels like he should get. So we'll see what happens there, but again, Korpisalo was shown in the past he can be a pretty good starter. Maybe it works in Boston. We shall find out. Speaking of goaltending, the situation in Minnesota is crowded. You have Gustafsson, you have Fleury, and you have Wallstedt. Wallstedt, to me, in his call-up last season, looked ready. And again, that's for me, the untrained eye, not exactly a scout. But he looked ready. And so the conversation then becomes one of, okay, so how are they going to work this? And according to their coach, the plan is that if all three are playing well, they may carry three goaltenders. If two of them are playing well, they may have to visit it as to who's sticking around and what's going to happen. But it sounds like they may carry three goaltenders. We saw a lot of it feels like a lot of teams carried three goaltenders last year. And so we may see that this season as well. I think Detroit will carry three goaltenders again, just using that as an example. That's what I think the plan's going to be there. But let me know your thoughts. And I know there's a lot of people who don't like three goaltender rotations. I'm not a huge fan of them myself, and I know goaltenders aren't normally big fans of three goaltender rotations because that means there's one that's not even going to be the backup. He's not going to be dressed, and it can get kind of awkward. And again, it's kind of a crowded crease. So does Minnesota go with three, or does Wallstedt get sent down and he's waiting another season for his opportunity? This is very likely Marc-Andre Fleury's last season, so maybe Wallstedt ends up being the guy next year. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a lot. I will talk to you again soon.